You want to pick another street here? Okay, in Greenwich Village. This is West 13th Street, west of 8th Avenue. Walking west. And it's an area I'm a little less familiar with, so this will be a process of discovery. But I have a feeling this is the Meatpacking district coming up. Walking this way, it's just was really the neighborhood to come to. Gansevoort is a name you'll see a lot in the Meatpacking district. There's a hotel, Gansevoort, or at least there was. Nice Dutch name. Getting a little tutoring on basketball. Now it's a question of whether the schools are open. It depends on the neighborhood. Some of the districts are closed. Some are only open at partial capacity. They were going to open and then they pushed it back. So these kids might be here as part of an after-school program or just a general program. So Hudson Street, I guess it would be the equivalent of 9th Avenue. Looking north up Hudson. We're on Gansevoort Street, which we'll keep heading west on. New Yorkers are still being generally pretty good about wearing their mask, but you'll see that lapse. It seems like there's no rules when you go into a restaurant. People take their mask off, and so it's kind of defeats the purpose, but what are you going to do? It's not a perfect system. It just can't be. There's been a couple of areas in town where they've had spikes, and they've been talking about closing making all the businesses close in those neighborhoods. And the governor, I just read, overturned that. He said no. Even though the cases are spiking, they can still stay open. So now it's the part of the pandemic where people are just toughing it out. And everybody's just got to use common sense, which is what I think should have been always the case, rather than coming up with all these rules, making places close. And I could see like big sporting events and concerts that would be a super spreader type situation. That's the High Line straight down, and that was closed for a long time. That's been reopened. You can see people walking along it. Old elevated railroad turned into a park. And I want to say this is the Gansevoort Hotel. this tall building here, but it might have been renamed or rebranded. Let me just check here. Now it says meet me at the Chester. Let's see here. Pretty sure this is where it was. And I think it has a rooftop pool, and I've read articles where people who don't have a pool or want to have a club setting, they'll come to the Gansevoort just for the weekend just to use the pool and meet people, including people from New Jersey doing their city thing. There used to be some real iconic restaurants in the Meatpacking district, and one by one they've gone out of business. So it's not what it used to be. I mean, Serafina's chain, Festis, it's here. And I won't go into like what places used to be here, because that doesn't bear on anybody's experience now, today. Maybe we'll just walk down here. I guess if I'm walking straight, I'd be walking through the restaurant. Alright, so we'll walk on the street. It's a cool building. Triangular. So a lot of these buildings used to be meatpacking warehouses, and then it was a thing back in the 80s and 90s where they would still be meatpacking wholesale distributors by day and then turn into restaurants at night, if you can imagine that. That involved putting a lot of sawdust on the floors. So as you can see the sign, it says the High Line is open. Now this would be the southern end of the High Line, and we're at Gansevoort. We're just below 14th Street, so it goes up about a mile to the north to around 32nd, 33rd Street. But if you go from the south, and that's the the famous hotel that is actually over the High Line. I'll put the name of it. It escapes me right now. But if you start at the southern end and work your way north, I think that's the best way to go. But it doesn't matter. There's great views, tons of people. In normal times, you'll hear every foreign language spoken. Alright, so I'm going to catch a city bike here. Thanks for joining me on this short walk around through the Meatpacking district. Now it comes to me, it's a Standard Hotel over the High Line.